Hello everyone, come with me while I hand make this Rapunzel-inspired Latin dance dress. First, I just need to get the shape of the bodice that I want. So here I am just messing around with the shape of the fabric on my mannequin. Then I just need to cut it out just to create a square for the entire bodice. Then I realized that I was out of bra pads, so I just cut up an old bathing suit that I didn't really like, and it worked out really well actually. It gave me the correct shape and the padding that I needed. One thing to notice about my sewing style is that I do not do it by the books. I am completely self-taught, and so I have had to find out my own method of doing things. Then I sewed the right size together of the rectangle so that I can pin the padding to the mannequin and place them together. I wasn't a fan of the plain rectangle shape, so I just used some elastic to create a scrunch effect in the middle part. Now that the rectangle has a much better shape that I am fond of, I am pinning it once again to the padding, and so that I can now bring it to the sewing machine and piece it all together. Now time to make the pattern. I have found that the best way of making a pattern is getting some thick cardstock. I just get mine from the Dollar Tree, and then getting a leotard that you know fits you really well, and then just tracing it. So I folded it in half so that it was perfectly symmetrical on each side. I'm just penciling it, and then I'm using a X-Acto knife to get it cut. Then just checking any additional measurements that I need just to make sure that everything matches up and it is my size. I did want a V shape on the hips in the front, and so that's what I'm tracing here. Now that the front part is done, I now need to trace it so that the back matches the same measurements, but I am going to make the back side a little bit wider so that it covers more of my butt. Then just cutting it all out. I wanted to create a corset illusion, and so here I'm just using some skin tone fabric so that I can cut it out, and then I'm going to layer all of the things on top of it, so it will work as the midsection of the leotard. Here I'm just making the back side. I do want a more open back, and so the back is not going to match the front exactly. Now I'm just using some elastic and sandwiching it in with the fabric so that I can make some fake bias tape so that I can make the mock boning channels right here. Now that the leotard underneath is done, I now need to just trace the top part of it onto another piece of paper so that I can make the pattern for the skirt. All I need is for the top part and the hips to match up so that they can be sewn together and it can work as an outline. Now I'm just transferring that piece of paper to the fabric so that I can cut it out and now have my pattern pieces. Last step of this process is just now transferring the pattern pieces from the leotard onto the fabric so that I can cut it all out, and then I just pin them together so that it will now work as one pattern piece. I'll just pin alongside the edges. Then I will take both sides, the front and the back, and I will pin them right sides together as if they were just two pattern pieces to create the skirt with also the leotard underneath. Now I'm going to pin the bodice to the skirt. Now my version of adding a hem to a ballroom dance outfit is folding in some elastic so that it adds some structure and also some elasticity to the outsides. If you know me at all, I'm a big fan of ruffles, so I had to have a ruffly skirt for this dress. And so to create the ruffle effect, you just need to make a big circle. And here I am just cutting it out, and I measured the length of the skirt that I wanted, and that was the measurement from the little circle you see there in the middle to the outside. Then I cut it out. Of course, I had to have a little puppy break. This is doom. I forgot to film this part of the sleeve making process, but I measured 12 inches across, and then however long my arms were, and then 9 inches across. Then I sewed a little hem on the outsides of each end so that I could feed some elastic through and create that bunched up effect. Now I tried a few different methods on how to make the corset back lace up, but I came down to this conclusion it worked out the best. I measured 2 inches apart for each loop, and I used this satin thread and made these little loops on each side of it. Then I just sewed it onto the back of the dress. Now, the base of the dress is officially done. So now for the really fun part, the embellishments. So I always like to wrap my mannequin in plastic wrap because I have sewn my dress onto my mannequin before and I had to undo everything. So don't make that mistake. If you put the plastic wrap underneath, then you can just sew. So I hand sewed the appliques. Now here I'm just adding all of the rhinestones. I got a bunch of lilac rhinestones to match. My preferred glue is Gem Tack. I can include that in my caption. I love it. Then I just use a wax pen to pick up the rhinestones and place it on the dots of glue that I placed wherever I saw fit. So here's the final result on my mannequin. I think that it was a perfect combination between Rapunzel and ballroom. I hope you guys learned something during this video, and please enjoy a small clip of the performance.